Good afternoon, welcome to the magnificent Phillip Island circuit in Australia. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Gavin Emmett, down in pit lane Ian Wheeler, the penultimate round, the MotoGP World Championship.
And Stoner on pole at home, ahead of Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa. The simple maths are, Jorge Lorenzo needs to score 3 more points than Pedrosa, and he will be champion come the end of the day. Crutchlow, Bradl and Dovizioso on row 2, and it's Bautista, Valentino Rossi, a 5-time winner here at this track in MotoGP, and Randy De Punier, the top CRT. Nicky Hayden heads up row 4 ahead of Carol Abraham and Aleix Espargaro. Then it's Barbara Pirro Petrucci, Edwards, James Ellison and Roberto Rolfo, who has won here in the past in the 250 class. And Ivan Silva will bring up the rear. There is no Johnny Hernandez this weekend. He was replaced by Chris McLaren, who didn't qualify for the race. And no Ben Spies, unfortunately. Sad to say, he will miss the last 2 races of the season, having had operation on his shoulder injury and problems with his ribs and lung that he suffered when we were in Sepang last time out. So get well soon, Ben Spies. Hope to see you back on a MotoGP bike soon at the start of next year as they go away on their final warm-up lap before the race.
Yeah, just under 2 minutes to go. Look at the crowd, vast crowd here at Phillip Island. 99.9% of them have come for one sole reason: to watch Casey Stoner in action on home soil for the very last time. Millions of television viewers want to see the same, but they were also equally interested in the battle for the World Championship between Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa. Let battle commence.
We've also got a bit of a partisan member in amongst with us today. Daryl Beattie, former Grand Prix winner as well, is here joining us. Great to have you alongside us, Daryl, and it just looks set fair. You were out there for the grid, weren't you? It looks beautiful out there.
It's fantastic, Nick and Gavin, and the temperature's starting to rise. Some of the highest temperatures I think we've seen for the weekend, and I just did a bit of a chat with Jeremy Burgess, and he really feels it's going to be crucial around here today with the front tyre, especially on that left-hand side, because it's borderline between the 2 compounds. Late in the race we could see some struggles.
So we'll see how that develops. All the front lot have gone with the softer front tyre and the softer rear, which is the medium compound. So interesting with the temperatures riding, because a lot of the riders said they wanted to run that harder compound, but it seems they haven't quite been able to get it to work. Ian?
I was just going to say, Stefan Bradl rolled up to the grid with the harder option rear, which Christoph Berger-Nielsen was their preferred race choice. Not sure whether they've changed it, but honestly I think he's starting with the harder option rear, the only man on the front 2 rows of the grid.
Interesting choice from Bradl.
Now, I'm going to be honest to both of you. Before this race gets underway, I am flying the Australian flag, Nick. This is not cricket, this is motorcycle racing.
So, the penultimate round of the MotoGP World Championship here at Phillip Island in Australia. Casey Stoner in pole position. A World Championship to be decided between Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Gavin Emmett and Daryl Beattie. Down in pit lane, Ian Wheeler. 27 laps. Will we see a new world champion? Will Stoner make it 6 in a row?
Little wheelie off the line from Lorenzo, but he gets it hooked up as he powers down towards turn 1, and he's going to take over at the front, and Pedrosa is also going to be able to come through into that first corner. So it's Lorenzo, the championship leader, who leads from Dani Pedrosa on this first lap as they head into the southern loop. It's Crutchlow in 4th place, Dovizioso in 5th and Bradl in 6th spot. But what a start from Lorenzo down into Doohan corner.
And you know the fluctuation on these carbon brakes, this run into turn 4 as we're heading to now through Stoner corner. Casey making that final adjustment on his front brakes for into here on the first time.
It's Dani Pedrosa that sneaked through, and Dani Pedrosa makes his intentions very, very clear at the hairpin and has gone through to take the lead from Jorge Lorenzo. Where did that come from?
Lorenzo wanted to block that up, but was forced to pick the bike up because Pedrosa's Repsol Honda was right where he wanted to be. These 3 at the front wanting to get away. Stoner's just calm at the moment. No panic button being hit just yet. He has a little look on the inside of there, Asia, but that would be a brave mover if he managed to do it. Over the top of Lukey Heights for the first time and down into MG corner. Is Stoner going to try and hit the inside? He is, but Lorenzo's got it covered.
He had a bit of a moment here this morning, didn't he, Casey Stoner? So probably just a little bit careful through there. Tell you what, 5 wins in 6 races for Dani Pedrosa. That's the confidence we haven't seen from him in MotoGP before.
Here comes Stoner now. This is where he really excels in the last sector. He's already got that Honda wound up, and he's driven it up the inside of Lorenzo. He didn't even have to run in his draft, and he's off after Pedrosa.
So through he goes. Casey Stoner makes it easy as he goes past Jorge Lorenzo and into second place. He does hook it up so beautifully coming out of turn 12. And we've seen him all weekend. We talk about how fast he is out of the Southern Loop, but through turn 3 as well. They renamed it in his honour after his 5 victories in the last 5 runnings of the Australian Grand Prix. And as they go through it for the second time, you may well see why. Look how close he gets to Pedrosa. This should give him a chance, does it, down into Honda hairpin. Not this time. Pedrosa very strong on the brakes, but Pedrosa is down. Dani Pedrosa is down, and that could well be the World Championship there and then for Jorge Lorenzo. Pedrosa has crashed out.
If Pedrosa does not pick up the Honda and regain the race, and it does seem he's not going to, can he get back in the race? It does appear we have a 2012 MotoGP World Champion. Big rush in the Yamaha pit to say Pedrosa out.
Of course, Lorenzo still needs to score a couple of points in this race, but that should be mathematic, really, for the man who's finished first or second in every race this year. Dani Pedrosa under pressure from his teammate Casey Stoner. There was no touch, there was nothing really there. He just tried to keep Stoner at bay more than anything and pushed too hard into the hairpin, and down he went.
He did. He went really deep under brakes. Right-hand side of the tyre, as we know, even though they're running the softer compounds here at the moment, it can catch you out early at Phillip Island. We have that dual compound. Lorenzo would have seen it out of the corner of his eye, but as you said, the pit board has just shown him now. So Stoner and Lorenzo.
I just think Casey Stoner's already done a 1:30.5 faster than anyone else managed in free practice. It would have qualified him on the front of the grid ahead of Dani Pedrosa if you measured up all those lap times, but you see how deep he was into the corner, and it just folds away from him. The bike in the middle of the corner. Disaster for Dani Pedrosa, and now Jorge Lorenzo has the easiest task in the world, as far as he's concerned anyway.
Well, he's finished first and second in every single race this season, apart from Assen, obviously, where he had the problems with Alvaro Bautista.
Pedrosa's coming in. This is into pit lane for Dani Pedrosa, as Stoner already is trying to pull away from Lorenzo behind. Well, we wanted a little bit more. We thought it was all revving up nicely because Pedrosa got away. Well, he got in front of Lorenzo, and it was going to be interesting to see how Lorenzo reacted to that, but we're not going to get it anymore.
No, and when you're 23 points behind with 2 races left in the championship, this is what he had to do. He had to go out and really throw everything at it. You know, that was the only way he was going to really beat Lorenzo at this championship, but such a shame.
Well, prepare now for the Casey Stoner show, I think, don't you? I think, ladies and gentlemen, blow the trumpet. Let's enjoy watching him at Phillip Island.
Wow.
Cruel luck for Dani Pedrosa. I think you're so right, Darryl. He had to go for it, and he did go for it right from the start, didn't he?
Trying everything he can. You see how wide he is on entry into that corner, because he's just pushing so hard to try and get that late apex, but it falls away from him, and he just goes away in a cloud of dust as well. Oh, look at that. Just Mike Leitner and Alberto Puig alongside. The bottom just fallen out of their world as they watched Dani Pedrosa crash out of the race here. A lap ago at the Honda hairpin. Now,
what's happening behind?
Yeah, it's an interesting battle.
Behind, have we?
Actually, a really intriguing battle for the podium now. We're talking about being a battle for 4th place. But look at this one. It's the 2 satellite Yamahas, followed by the 2 satellite Hondas at the moment. Crutchlow's looked good all weekend. Dovizioso's never going to give up. And even Bradl and Bautista will fancy their chances.
Well, you'd have to say, from what Ian saw with Bradl's tyre selection, if he has gone for that harder rear tyre and his front tyres okay on that left-hand side late in the race, Bradl of this bunch should be in pretty good shape.
Well, this is the battle now for 3rd place as they plunge down towards the MG corner. 23.5 laps to go. Jorge Lorenzo, 2nd place will be enough for him to clinch the world title. I don't think he's going to get too involved with Casey Stoner even if he wanted to.
He'd have to set a lap to match Stoner's at the moment. That's very close to his own. Whoa, slight moment for Stoner coming onto the straight, but he's okay. Just brings it back round, maybe opening that throttle just a touch too much coming through the final corner then, but it's okay. He's pulled another 4/10 away.
That was
from
the
Lorenzo.
Australian wave.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
He's already going for the Marco Melandri 2 fingers through the final corner, isn't he?
Well, it's a good battle over third place. Cal Crutchlow desperate to get back on the podium, but just scored some points after missing out in the last 2 rounds. Run out of petrol in Motegi, crashed out in Malaysia.
On board with Stefan Bradl now, who's had a great first season in the MotoGP World Championship. Okay, been a couple of blips in the last 4 races, but he's there now, and all these 4 will be thinking about getting their podium. 3 of them have been on the podium this year. Dovizioso more than most. He's had 6 to his name. Bautista 2 and Crutchlow just a solitary on, but Bradl will fancy it in his rookie year, taking a podium, and that will put him up with some special people who've taken podiums in their first year in the championship.
That's the Aussie way, is it?
Yeah, that's
Darryl?
the Aussie way, Nick.
Well, I tell you, the Aussie way to ride a motorcycle, unbelievable. Nakamoto-san looks on, of course, the Vice President of HRC. Mixed feelings for him. The World Championship's gone, but it's got to really say, right, let's sit back and enjoy the Casey Stoner show now.
Yeah, no, I guess when you look at even fast-forwarding to 2013, you know, with Valentino's chain next year as well, there's such a strong team when you look at Lorenzo, Valentino next year. So Honda are really going to have to lift their game with Danny and Marc Marquez.
On board with Jorge Lorenzo, the champion-elect, you'd have to say now. We thought this weekend, coming into this race, there's every chance it could go down to Valencia. He's been told a few times now, Pedrosa out, but forget about that. He's got to just ride his own race, bring the bike home. The gap to Stoner now stands at 1 3/4 seconds. He's dropped his times into the 31s, whereas Stoner's still down in the mid to low 1:30s as well. So now it's all about the riders behind him.
21.5 laps to go. Jorge Lorenzo on the verge of the world title. Great battle for third place. It's a podium finish now. Cal Crutchlow leads Andrea Dovizioso, Alvaro Bautista and Stefan Bradl. But Danny Pedrosa's World Championship chances have gone.
We come through Siberia, slight twitch there for Alvaro Bautista into the hay shed. And Crutchlow is just trying to stretch them out a bit now in this group. Is anyone able to keep tabs on the British rider, who we have to say has looked decent here? He's had good results in the past here in World Supersport and Superbike as well when he's been here. So it's a track he probably knows, or he's a bit more familiar with than the others. And he has looked good all weekend. He even looked at one point as if he might be able to challenge the podium, even with Lorenzo and Pedrosa there, or both of them there. But with Pedrosa out, then he's definitely got a very, very good shout.
Well, officially that's the gap. We ride with Casey Stoner into the Doohan curve. 5 times world champion Mick Doohan watches. Casey Stoner, double world champion.
We might have expected this if we were looking at the Australian Grand Prix back in July, for example. We might have said, yeah, you'd expect Stoner to be winning here. And you expect him all around these races, the Sepangs, the Motegis. They're places where he has gone well in the past, has picked up good results, Valencia as well. And we know he has such a good end to the season. It's just then in August he had that horrible crash at Indianapolis, which wrecked his season, had to miss 3 races. And since then, this has been the focus. This has been the one that he's really set his heart on, coming back for the fans. That's why he came back in Japan, probably earlier than he would have liked to.
James Ellison's crashed out. He is okay. Great Ducati battle between Valentino Rossi. Carol Abraham is really riding well this weekend, and Nicky Hayden, who's had, 4 podium finishes here, but James Ellison crashed out, the rider okay.
Yeah, Gavin, you would say that, that gritty determination that Stoner has just really shined through since that return with the injury, Japan, Malaysia, and then this weekend. I think yesterday when we were doing qualifying, that was just a classic example of Casey Stoner. That crash, straight on the other bike, and within the next flying lap, he dropped down into the 29s.
The Australian fans will go, well, they are going, they'll go even crazier, but the Spanish fans and throughout the world, he could regain the championship. He lost to Casey Stoner last year. Jorge Lorenzo on the verge of regaining that world title. It would be his 4th world title, double 250cc world champion. He now could be a double MotoGP world champion.
Like a bit of the moment for Jorge Lorenzo. It's frozen a little bit from the onboard shot, but looked like he was just stepping out a bit more than comfortable there for Lorenzo. We have seen, actually, the last couple of races, the last few races, of course, Malaysia had a huge moment down in towards the final corner then. Had one at Aragon as well. Misano, he said he couldn't even believe he'd stayed on the bike going through the first turn while he was leading that race. So there have been a few moments here and there, and it's just the warning he needs to just keep in this race.
And if you look at this bunch behind him as well, Lorenzo right now, they're lapping faster. So Cal Crutchlow starting to break that gap with his teammate Dovizioso. He's bringing Bradle with him as well. But there's Crutchlow not too far behind Lorenzo as Lorenzo was cresting the top of Lukey Heights.
Colin Edwards has come back into the pits as well. So it looks like his Australian Grand Prix is going to end early. Just 16 in it, all the way down to Ivan Silva, who's right at the back, battling with Robbie Rolfo for the last point-scoring position.
Decent ride this by Cal Crutchlow. To say he hasn't finished the last two races, that one podium finish in Brno, and he has opened up a gap, as Darryl said, over Andre Dovizioso, Batista and Bradle.
Fastest rider on the track, Cal Crutchlow, a 31.0, over a half a second faster, 7/10 faster than Lorenzo, ahead of him in second place.
Is Lorenzo getting the wobbles? Is he getting a bit nervous? I don't know. He's not a man that strikes me does get the wobbles very easily.
Oh, we've talked about it, about the possibilities, you know, that he's just more focused on taking second place than winning races, and that can sometimes just lead to you not being 100% focused. But I just think Lorenzo is that, he's got that character, hasn't he, where he just lives in the world of MotoGP, and always has his mind on the prize, on the ultimate prize. When he's won World Championship in 2010, won the race in the early part of the year, and then he's happy to pick up the points, just the ones he needed to seal the World Championship, even under pressure as well.
Alvaro Batista putting a little bit of pressure now on Andre Dovizioso. Both had decent years. He's fifth in the championship, Batista. Top six finishes in the last 6 races, and 2 podiums, Misano and Motegi. Going well here last year, I remember, in MotoGP, and crashed out when the rain came on Suzuki, and a former 125cc winner as well.
Through the final couple of corners here at Phillip Island, still Stoner now just in a lone furrow at the front. It's a 1:30.7 from him, and Lorenzo's matched that actually on that lap, brought his time right back down, 3 seconds down on Casey Stoner. Crutchlow just a little bit behind, but he is faster than this group, as Darryl said, and pulling away now the gap to Dovizioso, 1.4 seconds, and this really the only good battle out there on track at the moment amongst the front runners, Dovizioso and Bautista, with Bradle just sticking behind at the time being, just unable to keep tabs. And you have to wonder how that tyre will develop during the race, if it's going to be a point where the softer tyre starts to have a few problems and he's still got something left, or the softer tyre, they could just use it to pull enough of a gap on him so that he can't actually make the most of having that harder compound.
Yeah, and you would imagine with Bradle, with that harder compound, it doesn't quite give you the edge grip around here, but once you get it up and start driving, it definitely performs a lot better. So through those long turns later on, that should help Bradle, but it'll be interesting to see how Cal goes towards the end of this race, because his lap times are quite a bit better than what Stoner and Lorenzo are at the moment.
Casey Stoner, 44 Grand Prix wins. Jorge Lorenzo, 44 Grand Prix wins. Dani Pedrosa, 44 Grand Prix wins. Stoner could make it 45. He's certainly in the driving seat at the moment.
Well, we've seen this now. What is it? Out of the last 135 laps at this circuit, he's led 134 of them in MotoGP over the last 5 years. Add to that another 10 at the start of this race, and yeah, you'll be all right. Actually, 9 laps down, and there'll be 17 laps to go after this one.
This is Valentina Rossi in front of Carol Abram and Nikki Hayden. So it's the satellite Ducati sandwiched between the 2 factory Ducatis. CRT battle continues between Randy de Prunay and Alicia Spargaro.
It's been a great battle all year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And of course, Randy de Prunay's crashed out the last 2 races, isn't it? I think Spargaro's going to have about a 10-point advantage, but no, both ridden really well.
I think de Prunay's looked great this weekend, though, on board that bike, setting some incredible lap times. But once we get down to the race, the thing is staying ahead of the prototype bikes for one of those just doesn't have enough. Yeah, on one lap maybe you can do it, but to stay ahead when in a battle, it was like the old battle we used to have between when we had some of the two strokes around, and this track was the one that demonstrated it more than anything. I remember Jeremy McWilliams on the pole here, 2002, an incredible lap of the circuit, yet in the race unable to reproduce that, because obviously the four strokes at the time just had that extra power burst.
Casey Stoner into the Gardner Straight. There will be 16 laps remaining for the Australian. Third in the World Championship, of course.
There's times that we talk about this, it's great to watch a battle between the riders, but sometimes watching a rider in harmony with bike and circuit is just as impressive to watch, and none more so than watching Casey Stoner come through turn 3 at Phillip Island.
Yeah, look, the suspension really load up into 3 there, and it's just great the way he uses all the curb on the outside, not so much on the inside there, but that's nice.
Is that the Australian way as well?
Yes, yes.
Mick Doohan, I think, yeah. Mick doesn't give a lot of praise, does he? But I think even he's mighty impressed with that. So Casey Stoner on the verge of winning 6 in a row.
That's Alvaro Bautista going through on Andrea Dovizioso. He's going to go up into 4th place now and lead the chase of Cal Crutchlow, who's currently in that final podium spot.
Yeah, good stuff from Bautista. He is in form. He has won here previously, and here he is up the inside of Dovizioso. Nothing he can do about it. Stefan Bradl's your man, I think, a little bit, isn't he, though, Darryl? If he can make it work.
Yeah, I think Stefan's in a great position, but it's, I think right now he needs to get past these guys and start chipping away, because if the others do drop off towards the end of the race, he needs to be closer where he can take advantage of that. He needs to get on with this battle right now.
Just a quick update from pit lane. A very, very frustrated and angry Colin Edwards by the look of it. He's certainly a little bit too angry for me to ask him for a comment, but it looks like he's had a mechanical problem with the BMW suit. Just on the start-finish straight, said the feeling with the bike, the engine wasn't right. Seems to be a problem with the gearbox. I felt it was safer to come in and call it a day here at Phillip Island.
Here comes Bradl now through on the inside of Andrea Dovizioso. He's going to run it wide, surely through the southern loop, but he brings it back round. Really aggressive stuff from Stefan Bradl as he goes through on Andrea Dovizioso. Thinks about it also on Bautista. Is he lining something up perhaps for the Honda hairpin? Not sure he's going to necessarily get the drive there. Look how much Bautista was pushing through that corner there, almost flat out, if not flat out, for someone like Stoner in 5th gear going through there.
Yeah, we ride with Dovizioso right in his face, number 6, Stefan Bradl.
In case he was saying on his data, when he gets it sideways through their lane, black lines, it's about 250 odd kilometres an hour through Stoner Corner.
Got a feeling Stefan Bradl's data feed not working there, otherwise he was braking all the way through Siberia and into the hayshed as well. But we can see quite clearly he isn't. He's right there, and maybe he'll prepare another move on Bautista, just like the one he put on Dovizioso. But I tell you what, he's looking very good now, looking like he's really getting into this. And that edge grip you were talking about, maybe starting to have the edge with the harder tyre, if you pardon the pun.
We ride with Stefan Bradl. That's Alvaro Bautista in front of him. It's Andrea Dovizioso. Don't rule him out just behind him. With his fast left onto the Gardner Straight. This is the battle for 4th place. Side by side they come down towards the Doohan corner, and Bradl has taken the advantage, and Bradl has now gone into 4th place. Can he start pulling back Cal Crutchlow in 3rd?
And that could all come from that, as we talk about that harder tyre, just using it now coming out the final corner. It's possibly not spinning up as much as that softer tyre at this stage of the race, and he gets the drive down the home straight.
Dovizioso and Bautista having a rare old battle. Was it Mazzano? They had a really big fight for the final podium position. It's coming back once again. Here comes Dovizioso up the inside, and there's nothing Bautista can do. Dovizioso up into 5th place.
Dovizioso so late on the brakes. He does love passing like that. It's the way he's done it throughout his career. It's hard for anyone to stick with him. Lucio Cecchinello looks a bit concerned, but I think his rider has timed this just about right now, because behind Dovizioso and Bautista battling, and that will only help him to stretch away from that duo.
We now ride with Bradl. Sorry, Darryl. There is Dovizioso and Bautista.
Yeah, you could see that battle there. Bradl was just getting frustrated, couldn't And as you said, Gavin, he's Davizioso's so good on the brakes. He's so difficult to get past as well. But man, he's got some clear track he needs to focus on. Cal Crutchlow up further ahead, as Nick said. But last time around, a 31-1 for Casey Stoner, 30.9 for Lorenzo, a 31-1 for Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah, so very evenly matched actually between those three at the front, and then Bradle behind at 31.7. So you can see their pace way off that of Crutchlow's, and Crutchlow now just needs to focus on this, and he's got himself a second MotoGP podium.
Stoner into the hairpin. This is where he went down during qualifying yesterday. So Dani Pedrosa crashed out on the second lap. His chances of winning the world title or pushing Jorge Lorenzo de Valencia disappearing in that one moment. You should ride him with him, Darryl, when you see him like that.
Too old, Nick.
There we go through there, Asian. It's just great to watch. Just going to enjoy this a little bit. On board with Stoner. Yeah. Up and over the top of Lukey Heights. Right down to first gear for MG corner. Just bottoms out, dips a little bit in there, and the banking almost, a little bit of banking, then it changes. And you have to throw the bike over that little crest that you have in between those two corners. Shift it into fourth in between 11 and 12. And now just watch this, how early he gets on the throttle coming through here.
That's how to ride round Phillip Island. No better exponent than Casey Stoner.
I did think one thing, that he might be able to break the lap record here, which is still held actually by Nicky Hayden back in 2008 as a 30.0, but he's actually only managed a 30.1. I'm sure he'll be devastated by that.
Yeah. That's going to spoil the party, isn't it? Yeah.
No, but it's just quite interesting. We're back with the 1000cc bikes. That was in a race with one of the 800s. Must have been an absolute lap and a half from Nicky Hayden when he put that one in back in 2008. Has always loved this track, of course, but he just thought maybe with the extra pace down the home straight that they've had this year, we've seen them getting up to 339 Ks coming down the straight. That's 211 miles per hour for Carol Abraham. They might have been able to beat it.
There he is, Dani Pedrosa talking to Spanish television.
Yeah.
Real bitter disappointment for him.
It is a real shame. He's had such a great year, his best year so far, you would say, in the Premier Class. That's just, I'm glad his hand didn't get caught there. He's all okay. And, you know, I'd say Danny can't be disappointed. He was right in this championship hunt.
Now he just needs to make it work for a whole season, but from the start. And I think he's admitted himself he was maybe a little bit cautious at the start of the year. He said that was his plan, and it seemed to be working, the fact that he was winning these races at the end. Bear in mind, Stoner hasn't been there, but yeah, his plan was to make sure he was in the championship by the halfway point, which hasn't always been the case. We've seen injuries suffered by the Spaniard over the years, and yeah, he just wanted to make sure he was there. Just left a little bit too much too late, and Lorenzo's managed it perfectly since he's been out there in front.
This is the battle for fourth place. Well, this isn't. This is the battle between Valentino Rossi and Nicky Hayden for seventh place. Valentino Rossi plunges down towards the Doohan curve. Nicky Hayden behind him. Carol Abraham's having a good ride, but now behind the two factory Ducatis in ninth spot. Randy de Prunier still leading the way from Alicia Spargo. Hector Barbara, Danilo Petrucci should pick up some points. Michele Pirro and Ivan Silva and Robbie Rolfo.
We're just going to hear from Dani Pedrosa now.
Maybe it's still early to push a little bit wider on the corner. I had some chatter, but well, just proud of the riding overall, and thankful to my team because we did a good season, and they deserve also all the sponsors and my fans. Yeah, I'm, as I said, proud of the riding this year, and just as lucky as Torque, but just happy with the performance.
Well, Dani Pedrosa obviously talking to somebody else, not to us. But,
never mind, doesn't matter. That's good to hear from him.
It was that or nothing, I'm afraid.
Yeah, get your mic shoved in there, Ian. That's great to hear from him. And he's right. He can be proud. It's been a great season. He's put it together. He's got his best ever points total. He's taken more wins than ever before in MotoGP. and he just got to use this as experience and move on. There've been people who've spent as long as he had in the championship before taking their title, so he just got to think he can use all this now. He has said how much he has learnt this season in terms of aggression, of terms of when to attack in a race, in terms of how he needs to be in those last laps, and he's always been learning. I think this year he's probably picked up more than any season before. Most definitely, and I think he can be definitely a 100% serious challenger next year for the championship with Valentino back in there, his teammate Marc Marquez. That's going to be pressure as well, so really pushing along. And Lorenzo, of course, now looks on course to be the defending champion in 2013, but sadly we won't be seeing this man there next year. It's a real shame when you see someone as fabulous as he is on a motorcycle, and nowhere more so than here at Phillip Islands. He goes through MG once more, but he's having the send-off that he needs here at Phillip Island today, Casey Stoner.
Great ride by Cal Crutchlow, still looking for that podium finish. It'll be his second of the season, the first one, of course, coming in Brno. As Casey Stoner powers down the Gardner Straight. 9 laps to go for Casey Stoner into the Doohan corner. Fortunately, that number 1 will be coming off that Honda, and you're going to see it on the Yamaha, one would imagine, of Jorge Lorenzo at the end of this race, although of course they will run with the same numbers, of course, in Valencia. Elbow down moment there for Stoner. Unbelievable, isn't it? Just the lean angles you see now in MotoGP. We saw it with the 800, we'll still see it with the 1000, just the grip. And I think it's, we get a lot of people say, it's unbelievable when you do the post-race interviews and you look at their elbows and they've all been scraping. I know Marc Marquez will be one to watch with that in MotoGP. He has specific elbow sliders that he changes after every session on his leathers. He's the only rider that Alpine Stars makes them for, a specific tough and plastic elbow sliders, because he gets it down so much. Only time I got it down is when my head touched as well, Nick.
Is that the Australian way?
Yeah. I knew you were there somewhere, Ian.
You won't miss a trick, Darrell, I warn you. Down at Lukey Heights and then down to MG corner. 8.5 laps to go for Casey Stoner. This is what the crowd want to see. It's what all Australia want to see, but the bigger picture behind is Jorge Lorenzo is on the verge of regaining the world title.
It looks like the right choice for Stefan Bradl at the moment, as he just squeezes away from Andrea Dovizioso and Alvaro Bautista in 5th and 6th behind him. He's got a gap back to them now, half a second, and I'm sure it will just get a little bit more before the start-finish line. It's all about how he's going through these left-handers through the final corner, on board with Alvaro Bautista, pulls alongside Dovizioso. Dovizioso will drift back in front of Bautista, and no way through for the Spaniard this time. He'll try and make an attack round the outside to have the inside into the southern loop, but no, Dovizioso's well wise to that one.
You see how that works sometimes. Bautista's got really good drive at the moment. He got the drive on Dovizioso, and then Dovey was deep under the brakes in the one, and Bautista kind of got sucked in as well, and then he ran wide mid-corner, so it really ruins his opportunity to pass. Now he's gaining his momentum back. He'll get back up behind Dovizioso. It looks like Bautista's got better drive, but can't commit to get past Dovizioso because he's so good on the brakes.
Watch those numbers, how quickly they go up from going through the corner in 90 kilometres per hour, and then just suddenly start going up. Look how quickly they're at 220 and going through the corners as well at those speeds. This track has the highest average speed on any on the Grand Prix calendar there. Lapping here, average 180 kilometres an hour, round about 175 to 180, depending on their lap times.
Yeah, Bautista again closing up on Andrea Dovizioso. I think he fancies his chances, don't you, round that final corner and just getting good drive. That's a Robbie Rolfo out of the race. It looks like is it a crash or a mechanical?
I think.
Yeah, I think probably so, on the Speedmaster machine. Former 250cc winner here. Right, Bautista is not quite close enough this time round. And Dovizioso was a very, very difficult man to overtake. Here he comes, though.
Do it in one of the fast corners, perhaps.
Yeah.
He thought about it there, knew he had to back off, otherwise they'd have both been down there into the Bass Straight, pretty much.
You ask Cal Crutchlow about overtaking Andrea Dovizioso, he says it's virtually impossible.
Well, I mean, Alex Barros, I think, used to be the same back as well. Then he was just a demon under brakes.
And that's, I think, Dovizioso's taken over that mantle of being the one. It's almost impossible to stop once he's in front of you. Abraham's just dropped off the battle between Rossi and Hayden. Nothing to choose, actually, between the two factory Ducatis at the moment. A tenth separating the Italian from the American. But Abraham's had a decent ride here this weekend. Lonely one, though, now, down in ninth place. Penultimate one on the Ducati as well. It looks like he'll be on an Aprilia CRT bike next season. For the same team, of course. It's run by his dad. This is an interesting development. Aleix Espargaro has taken over from Randy De Punier in the battle for 10th place and CRT supremacy and a spot in Parc Fermé alongside Stoner and the new world champion Jorge Lorenzo.
Yeah, he's opened up a 10-point lead in that particular battle. Now he's in front. Well, it's a fantastic performance by Aleix Espargaro. Back with Stoner at the front, 5.5 laps to go. The sun is shining. All of Australia celebrates, but back home in Mallorca, I think they're uncorking the bottles of wine now, aren't they? Because Lorenzo is so close to retaining that world title now. But
he had got through on him. He's found a way through somewhere there as Alvaro Bautista, but Dovizioso back under brakes. But I suppose Bautista can use that as a trial run maybe for the last lap, because he crossed the line 400s ahead of Dovizioso.
Yeah, he thought about sneaking up the inside through that next turn there, but Dovizioso kept it low here, and you really can't imagine that Bautista could pull off a break into turn 4 on Dovizioso.
Not the way as well, he closes the door. Bolted firmly shut there by the Italian, and actually it's spurring them on to close down the gap to Stefan Bradl as they're having to push so deep in every single corner to try and stay ahead. Bradl runs it wide a little bit, but he's pointing and squirting a little bit more than the two riders behind him. I just wonder if that's because I don't know, I just wonder if it's the way the tyre's working. He feels he has to go deep in and squirt out.
And that's what you tend to do, Gavin, as well. You know, you sort of start squaring off turns or taking different lines as the tyre wear, and it changes so much around here throughout the race, especially now it's so critical. And maybe Bradl is struggling a little bit with the front tyre, and that's why he's trying to square off the turns as well.
You see the gap between the front three there. Stoner going into turn 1. Lorenzo just crossing the line now, 6.5 seconds. And Crutchlow, who's in third, in line for another podium, 5.5 seconds behind Lorenzo. It's all spread out at the front. But as we've said, it's probably not what most of the fans came here to see. They wanted an Aussie win.
And that's exactly what they're getting at the moment. But Lorenzo, just 5 laps ago from clinching 2012 title. 6 wins this season for Jorge Lorenzo. He's only been first or second apart from one race. That was in Assen, as he makes his way past Even Silva into the hairpin. It's a big concentration time now for Jorge Lorenzo, but he's the one man that concentrates so hard. Stoner may win. Lorenzo now on the verge of that world title. 4.5 laps to go for the Spaniard.
What was it you were saying earlier on? Starting to get the T-shirts out of the box now. Special designs. We were honestly thinking before, after the last couple of races, that this would go down to Valencia. Look, in the last 7 races, Lorenzo's been second on 6 occasions, and Bradl has been passed, by the way. Dovizioso has got through on him. This is going to rumble and rumble, I think, till the end of the race. But yeah, Lorenzo's just to go back quickly, second place in the last 7 races on 6 occasions. The one win coming when Pedrosa was taken out in Misano, and that just says to me someone who's consolidated, but also who also has a pace to be up there every single race, but is happy to know that if I take my 20 points, that's the championship in the bag.
It's like parking a bus in front of you, isn't it, when he gets in front of you? It's so... Seems like the bike's twice as wide, doesn't it, when he gets in front of you? You'd be a difficult man to shift from 4th place.
I was just watching Bradl as they come out of the bottom of Luki there on the change direction. He was wide again in that left-hander. He's wide again in that left-hander as well, so maybe he is struggling with the left-hand side on that front tyre. That rear one's got the drive, but he can't do much in the left-hand turns. Yeah,
pushing a little bit on him. Be concerned going through here, I would be anyway. Just lets the rear step out as he goes through turn 3. Stoner corners, it's now dubbed as Bautista fancies a way through on Bradl as well. They almost come together. The tyres almost sticking to each other as they came through the hairpin, through the little kink of turn 5, and then into 6. and through into Siberia.
Yeah, Bautista, I think, knows he's got to get past Brad if he's going to have any sort of nibble at Andrea Dovizioso. 3.5 laps to go. They're up at the hay shed. They're now braking for Lukey Heights. Up over the top they come. Bautista not close enough this time. As Darrell has said, as Cal Crutchlow will agree, he's a very, very hard man to overtake, Andrea Dovizioso. I think Bautista's going to give it a good go, though.
Casey Stoner comes across the line. 3 laps remaining for him to take his 45th Grand Prix victory. He'd loved to have won the last 3 races perhaps of this season, taking his total to 40 in MotoGP alone. But it's going to be 38 for him after this one, with one more chance to do the business when we get to Valencia, a track that he likes as well, left-handed circuit. So he'll appreciate that a lot more with the problems they're having with the Honda this year. We're about to see, I'm sure, Bautista to throw it up on the inside of Dovizioso. But it's back to Danilo Petrucci, number 9 on board the Iota Suter.
Currently running in 13th place. It's his Phillip Island debut, so not a shabby result in any way at all for Danilo Petrucci as he comes down towards the MG corner. Hope he remains in MotoGP next year. I think he's done okay, don't you?
I think there's every chance he will. Just have to wait and see what gets lined up for him, with Michele Pirro likely to become the Ducati test rider. There's a bike there that people will have their designs on. I heard a rumour yesterday that bike may well go to Chianari, Ryuichi Chianari, of course, former British Superbike champion who has been in MotoGP in the past. See how that one develops. He, of course, has the link with the Grassini team. He was the rider that came in to replace Tajiro Kato at Grassini all the way back in 2003.
Savour the moment. 2 more laps. That love affair between Casey Stoner and Phillip Island is about to end, and Stoner just has a look at the wobble there of Michele Pirro in front of him.
You don't want to see that.
No.
See a rider start doing that when you go past. Maybe the blue flag just unsettled Michele Pirro a little bit there, down in towards Doohan corner. Now, down the Gardner Straight one more time. 2 laps to go for this battle for 4th spot between Dovizioso, Bautista and Bradl. Bautista has been trying on a number of occasions to get through into the southern loop, but Dovi's just not allowing it.
Valentino Rossi still fighting off the challenge of Nicky Hayden. A lot of pride at stake here, I feel, don't you? There's Nicky Hayden staying at Ducati. Rossi obviously moving on.
I spoke to Nicky a little earlier today. He's the battle with De Pinio just runs wide.
That's where obviously Espargaro got past him. And that is still the situation. No, De Pinio's back in front of him. No, Espargaro back in front of him. So that was obviously, the last time they did it. They've been swapping paint, haven't they?
Oh, it's been like that during the season. Now they're looking over the shoulder. Espargaro's looking over his shoulder at De Pinio. So maybe they're going to decide they'll go for it on the last lap. But yeah, Nicky was really quiet. I said to him off camera, you know, how's it all been? Obviously with your hand, and he was quite downbeat for Nicky Hayden compared to what he normally is. And I think that there's a lot of positives, but also a lot of work to do. Bradl.
So we've already seen Bautista's gone through now on Dovizioso, and Bradl goes through on him as well. This is chop and change stuff with a lap to go in the Australian Grand Prix here at Phillip Island. Stoner leads across the line. Just one more lap of the 4.4 kilometre circuit for Casey Stoner to clinch victory. One more lap for Jorge Lorenzo to be the 2012 MotoGP World Champion.
One more lap for Cal Crutchlow to take his 2nd ever podium finish, but there's going to be a rare old battle for 4th place.
And you see Dovizioso there as he gets in the slipstream. The bike starts to shake because at that speed there's like a big wind buffer around the bikes, and if you get side by side, the fairings get pushed apart as well. But he's just too good for him into turn 1. Oh, Bradl's knee in the dirt, was it?
Just kicked the dirt, didn't he, as he came through. Last chance we'll get to be on board with Casey Stoner here at Phillip Island in MotoGP. Poetry in motion, just a bit louder maybe than your average bit of poetry perhaps, as he's about to come up and over Lukey Heights for the final time.
Jorge Lorenzo half a lap away from regaining the MotoGP World title. Ooh,
the leg came off.
He's waving.
I think he's enjoying that one, isn't he?
Was that celebrating?
That's a different sort of way.
Yeah, that's not the Aussie, that's a Spanish way. Great battle for 4th place.
Well, one more chance for these guys as they go up and over and into MG corner. But we've got to switch to Casey Stoner. He looks across to his crew. He has done the business in Australia for the 6th time in succession.
Jorge Lorenzo crosses the line in 2nd place and clinches the 2012 MotoGP World Championship with Cal Crutchlow in 3rd place.
And it's going to be Andrea Dovizioso who's going to take 4th ahead of Alvaro Bautista, unless Bradl can find something. It's Bautista 5th, Bradl in 6th place. And delight and jubilation at the Yamaha garage. Deck there, Cal Crutchlow's father shakes the hand of the Yamaha team. But it's going to be Lorenzo, world champion in 2012. The party can start for the Spaniard.
He's done it. 6 wins, only 1st or 2nd in every race but one this season of the 17 rounds of the championship, and he looks absolutely exhausted. Congratulations to Jorge Lorenzo and Casey Stoner.
Party time has started down on the pit wall. There's Ramon Forcada, who's taken him to his 2nd World Championship. Casey Stoner, what a performance, what a day. Dale, proud Aussie today to see that?
Really proud. I'm going to buy you both Australian flags to take back to the UK and put up outside your house.
Yeah, I've already got too much weight in my bag, that kind of thing. You know what they're like these days with the weight and things. It's a really kind gesture.
Thank you to both of you. We love listening to you in Australia on the commentary. We really enjoy it.
Great to have you here as well, Darryl. Really is. Thank you. Yeah. So, 2012 world champion Jorge Lorenzo celebrates. Casey Stoner will be out there somewhere, I think probably waving to the crowd and celebrating as well. What a season it's been for Lorenzo. One blip. That one blip really wasn't his fault, was it, when he was taken out by Alvaro Bautista in Assen?
There's a bit, as usual, a bit of a track invasion by the fans. I could have just waited a little bit, perhaps, to get out there, because the riders are still out on track. But they're in party mode, of course, because there's been another Aussie winner for the 6th year in succession, and, of course, for the 6th year in succession, it's been Casey Stoner. Cal Crutchlow just trying to make sure he's got control of the bike, coming up and over Lukey Heights. Stoner, in fact, is going to take the shortcut, and through the paddock, he's going to come through.
Oh, that's even better, actually, isn't it? Great stuff from Casey Stoner. We're going to miss him so, so much. What a shame the battle won't continue between Jorge Lorenzo, the new world champion, and the old world champion, Casey Stoner, in 2013.
So they've had that actually coming in, Casey coming in that way. Lorenzo's going to join him from that way too, but also Cal Crutchlow's going to be coming the other way down pit lane, so they better open the barriers on the other side. They can see, and there will be one heck of a party on Phillip Island tonight.
Certainly will. Well done, Casey Stoner.
Javier Yarte, mechanic for Casey Stoner, gives him the congratulations. Juan Llanza as well, as Casey Stoner comes and celebrates as well with his crew. Lorenzo with the Spanish flag as he comes in. His little daughter Alessandra, she's the cutest down there.
Mum and Dad there as well.
Yeah. And here he is, 2012 MotoGP World Champion. Yeah, give it a burnout. You don't get many of those anymore with the engine limits in MotoGP, but he doesn't care. He's got the championship in the bag.
Jorge Lorenzo, 2012 world champion. 1 round to go. He's done it here in Phillip Island with yet another 2nd place.
He deserves it. You have to say, he really does deserve it. He's ridden superbly all year. He equals the record podium haul for a season. He could set a brand new record if he finishes on the podium in Valencia. And who would bet against it after the season he's put together?
we salute the new world champion. 2 250cc world titles, 2 MotoGP world titles for the 25-year-old from Mallorca, Jorge Lorenzo. It's Cal Crutchlow. His second podium finish. Great result by Cal Crutchlow. Lorenzo stops. Ian, you're safe and sound down there.
Yeah, I'm down here. I've been involved in 2 celebrations already. Cal Crutchlow, contrary as ever, arrives from a different direction to everybody else. Has to be dragged over the barrier by his crew. Yeah. But now taking part in the celebrations going on in Park Fermé.
There are some big ones as well, and rightly so. Well done, Jorge Lorenzo. Great day for Casey Stoner. A sad day as well. There's Alessia Spargo, top CRT bike, and Casey Stoner. Well done, Casey Stoner and Jorge Lorenzo. Oh, I wish you were going to be at it in 2013, the pair of you. What a shame, but what a way to pay out in Australia for Casey Stoner. Poor old Danny Pedrosa, what must he be feeling now? We heard him speak in the interview. Crashed out on the second lap at the hairpin. He had to be aggressive, boy, he was aggressive as well. Jorge Lorenzo joined by Valentino Rossi next season at Yamaha. This is the moment. It's not the moment the championship was decided, it's certainly the moment the championship was decided in this particular race. Danny Pedrosa crashing out at the hairpin on the second lap. He knows it's all over. Ramon Forcada, Jorge Lorenzo's crew chief, and now talking, as he should, first to Spanish television. Crutchlow's in there somewhere. Oh, what a weekend we've had at Phillip Island. Casey Stoner, 6th successive victory. Jorge Lorenzo, 2nd place, gives him the world title. Cal Crutchlow on the podium for just the 2nd time in MotoGP. Further down, Alessia Spargo wins the CRT battle with Randy de Punier. Danilo Petrucci picks up some points, Michele Pira and Ivan Silva on his debut at Phillip Island. Robbie Rolfo crashed out, James Ellison crashed out, Colin Edwards retired with engine problems. Danny Pedrosa, almost right that he's the sole man on that particular sheet. Out of the race, crashed out, his championship dreams shattered. And here we go, Lorenzo, a 43-point lead in the World Championship over Danny Pedrosa. Casey Stoner safe and sound now in 3rd place. Dovizioso 4, Batista 5, Rossi 6, Crutchlow still in 7th place, Bradle 8 and Nicky Hayden 9th. But Lorenzo, 1 round to go, world champion. Alessia Spargo is just increasing the lead in that CRT battle. 11-point advantage now over his teammate Randy de Punier.
That one almost impossible to
yeah,
unless he were to finish in something like 6th place and the Spargo didn't finish. So that's unlikely to happen.
Some of those names at the bottom of the pile, single performances by them. Ian.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab a quick word with podium finishers today. Cal Crutchlow. Difficult last 2 races on this flyaway trip, but more than made up for that with a superb performance today, Cal, and another podium.
Yeah, obviously we've been suffering the last days with bronchitis and a fever, but yeah, more than made up for it. I ran a good pace. I was happy to let Jorge go. I thought I could have stayed with him, but 3rd place is better than putting it on its roof or even taking out the world champion. So I thought, best not do that because we'll be sacked. But no, I was happy.
Well, congratulations on a great ride today, Cal.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not something you want to do when you're going to be riding for that factory next year.
Certainly is not. You're dead right there.
Of course, he'll be on the Monster Tech 3 Yamaha bike once more in 2013. Wow, he's done the job this weekend. He's done the job over the last few races, but it was the first half of the season really that did it for Lorenzo. Of course, when he won those 3 back-to-back, Le Mans, Barcelona and Silverstone as well. Those 3 really put him in the driving seat. And then the victory in Italy after having the disaster of Assen, really, that was the comeback he needed.
Accelerates with a wheelie across the line. He's done it.
Big old wheelie. Loved it.
Yeah.
Relief. Big relief for Jorge Lorenzo.
I tell you what, I've got in here all right, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get out.
No.
I know. Some pretty big celebrations going on there. Most
Quite
of
a
the
few
crowd
people
are on the track. The riders are going to try and get their way up to the podium. I think they're probably going to find that way okay. And of course they will be having a word with Gavin, and well, an interesting word it would be for the new world champion, for Casey Stoner, and of course Carol Crutchlow, who had a really good ride. We enjoy this weekend, haven't we, Phillip Island? Yeah. Apart from the cold Gavin's got at the moment, but
it's taking it out of me a bit, yeah.
Yeah, 11 points between Aleix Espargaro and Randy de Prunay, so Aleix Espargaro surely is going to win that CRT battle, and that is one hell of a performance by him against Randy de Prunay, who's a very, very established Grand Prix winner, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done great this year, Aleix. David Tillon was picking up a point when he was around for a couple of races. Ivan Silva, who he'd replaced, has come and picked another one up today.
Says it all, the board. This is, or was, the Gardner Straight. Not a lot left of it at the moment. It's just full of people. A lot of Australian flags.
There's Cal Crutchlow just having a play with Casey's daughter, Alessandra.
Yeah, she's more interested in his stickers on his leathers than anything else, isn't she? I tell you what, she's grown up mighty quick, isn't she? Ah, brilliant. She'll be proud of your dad, and you'll hear all about his exploits when you get a bit older. There's going to be a few photographs around the house of him in action.
Yeah, I remember that little bit of footage as well.
Yeah, dead right. So I think we're on our way to the podium. I think Lorenzo is quite overcome with emotion, don't you?
Yeah.
I really do think so. The big weight on his shoulders, it's all been lifted now. And that's what the Yamaha team think of their man, the world champion. But listen to the roar from the Australian crowd for Casey Stoner.
He steps up with his bad foot.
Aye. And warm applause from Jorge Lorenzo and Cal Crutchlow as well.
Fans massing down on pit lane. What a day it's been for the Australian fans as well. Cal Crutchlow holds the trophy aloft for third place. Christian Gabarini already collected the trophy for the constructors. Crew chief, of course, to Casey Stoner.
Second place, it's enough once again for Jorge Lorenzo. He has clinched the 2012 World Championship.
The FIM president, Vito Ippolito, presents Lorenzo with the trophy. Yes, it's second place, but it does mean he is champion of the world in 2012.
But now the whole of Australia stand and salute a true sporting hero. 6 successive wins here at Phillip Island for Casey Stoner.
We said, was the programme going to be top and tailed by the Australian national anthem? Well, here you are. behind that big grin of Casey Stoner. I saw a big lump forming in the throat.
Sometimes he's not as tough as he makes out, Casey Stoner, I can tell you. And if he's not moved by this moment, look at brilliant, isn't she? His little daughter just looking on. He's not moved by this moment. He won't be moved by anything, and I can tell you, he will be moved by this moment.
Carl Crutchlow just getting a swig.
He's getting a swig straight away, isn't he? To get that sorted out.
Where's Jorge gone? We've lost Jorge Lorenzo. Has he forgotten he's got to do the champagne bit?
He's a world champion. He can do what he likes now.
Well, those two can celebrate on the podium anyway. Where's Lorenzo gone? Oh, he's gone down to celebrate with his team. That's it. They're getting the soaking they don't often get.
This is why I'm saying thank you to the team. Casey Stoner will step off the podium for the very, very last time in Australia after his 6th successive win here at Phillip Island. I tell you, I think Jorge is really, Lorenzo's really emotional about the whole thing.
Can't blame him.
No, absolutely.
First Spaniard ever to take 2 Premier Class titles. Alex Crivier only managed it once, and now he takes his 2nd.
Carl Crutchlow's not going to let go of that bottle, is he? That's going down with him.
The team will be wringing out their clothes to get a good sip. Yeah. There's his manager Albert. So lost Stoner off the top step of the podium.
He's gone as well now.
No one out there.
Ian's in there somewhere. Hello, Ian.
No, I've escaped.
Yeah. Pretty exciting down there, isn't it? Pretty packed as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Pat. The atmosphere is absolutely incredible, you know, as you would expect with an Australian. And Casey Stoner that on the top step of the podium for the 6th successive time. But I'm going to run away now.
I think Carl Crutchlow is so pleased to be back on the podium. So here's Casey Stoner once again.
There he is, chucking out his knee sliders. He just had to go and get a screwdriver to get them on.
Final photographs. This is one for the album, isn't it? A new world champion and Casey Stoner's last ever ride at Phillip Island.